Thank you for joining today's AcuQuality Webinar Sessions. My name is Kevin Devecioglu. I am with Bimser International. And today we'll be talking about how to comply with ISO 9001 standards on QDMS and Acumatica in a digital environment. As you may remember, this is actually a series of webinars, and we do this every Monday afternoon Eastern Time. And keeping this in mind, this is actually what we delivered in previous weeks. On April 13th, we talked about how to manage quality management systems, how to comply digitally on QDMS and Acumatica ERP system. And then last week, we had a chance to talk about how to comply with good manufacturing practices in pharmaceutical, medical device manufacturing, medical material manufacturing, and as well as healthcare industry as a whole, digitally, of course, on QDMS and Acumatica. So what we do is we have a YouTube channel. That's a pretty active channel that we update regularly. So when you have a chance, if you visit our YouTube channel on YouTube, and if you click playlist, there is a playlist there called Executive Webinar Recordings. There you can see our previous webinar recordings, and you can watch and share with your colleagues and your contacts anytime you like. So that is an important source of information for our customers, for our partners, and our ecosystem. As for what is coming, before we jump into ISO 9001 related subjects, next week we'll be talking about how to comply with ISO 13485. As you may know, ISO 13485 is designed for medical device as well as medical material manufacturers. So we'll talk about those standards, especially ISO 13485, also partial ISO 9001. And we'll address fundamentals first of all. We also have a guest speaker for the subject matter as a subject matter expert, and we'll talk about how you can comply ISO 13485 on QDMS and Acumatica in a paperless environment. And followed by May 11th, 18, and 25, we'll be talking about SQF for food industry, good manufacturing practices from the scope of facility management, because last week we talked about how to comply with good manufacturing practices. But there is an important piece that we need to address as to how to manage facilities, because that's one of the requirements of good manufacturing practices, where to have actually policies and procedures in place to manage facilities, to make sure you have hygienic environment and you have policies and procedures in place to sustain a safe and secure environment when you are doing manufacturing in pharma and a medical device industry. And on May 25th, we'll be talking about AS 9100. As you may know, AS 9100 is designed to help aerospace companies and aviation companies to have a quality management system in place. So that's a very specialized quality management system that we'll talk about. It has its own unique requirements. So we'll talk about those fundamentals first of all, and then we'll jump into QDMS and Acumatica environment to talk about how you can comply these standards and requirements actually in a digital environment. So our registration is always on Eventbrite, just so you know, and you can always register our following coming AcuQuality webinars anytime you like. We welcome it, and we look forward to seeing you, of course, as always. So let's talk about us a little bit. Let me introduce our company on a high level, and then we'll jump to ISO 9001. So as a company, as Bimser International, we are an enterprise software maker since 1998. So we help companies simplify their processes and help companies adopt digital transformation. That's what we do. We are very active in various business communities, including ASQ, American Society for Quality. We are active, and we interact with other quality managers, quality professionals, and other businesses. Also, I need to mention that we have an internship program for university students. We help them learn about software engineering and pre-sales engineering. As a company, we have global presence. Our company is based in New York, and also we have presence in Europe, Istanbul metro area, as well as in Netherlands. So we are a group of companies. As a group, we are about 200 people. We are a growing organization. European Bank for Reconstruction and Development is one of our investors. So with the help of European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, we have more visibility in international markets, and naturally we have more resources to invest in our products, support our customers and our partners and our ecosystem. Bimser is ISO 9001 certified and ISO 271 certified. We are an official Acumatica ISV. Also, we are a Microsoft Gold vendor partner. We are a certified SAP vendor. Also, we are an official ISV partner of Myobi in various regions. Since 1998, we focus on these products only. These are our own developments. We own the IPs. So we have EBA. EBA is our workflow, document management, and records management system. Helps companies automate their business processes. So any business process one may have, we help them digitize it, get rid of paper, and then you can have a traceable, manageable, and reportable, secure environment to run your business processes. BEAM is our asset maintenance, facility, and energy management system. That's also an Acumatica certified solution. We just got the recertification for BEAM for 2019 R2 version of Acumatica. It will be available on its page soon. And QDMS is our quality, risk, audit, and compliance management system. We'll talk more about QDMS today as to how to comply ISO 9001 in a digital environment while interacting with Acumatica ERP system. So with the help of QDMS, one can comply with any quality management system in a digital environment. QDMS is also an Acumatica certified solution, and that has been also recertified for Acumatica R2 version. And finally, we have Ensemble as a business process management tool. In bottom, you can see two solutions that we develop on EBA, because EBA is a business process automation platform, and EBA contract management is designed to help companies manage their contracts in a digital environment with no paper involved. And EBA contract management is also an Acumatica certified solution. So when we look at our products, they are ready to work standalone independently. And when project requires, we integrate them to each other. And depends on the project, we integrate with any ERP, any CRM, any other application available in the marketplace. So we have the latest technology. Our products work on cloud as well as on-premise servers, and we have mobile apps available. Here you can see how many projects we have deployed by the end of last year. It also shows more or less how many clients we have. Let's look at QDMS a little bit, because we'll talk more about QDMS today. QDMS, our quality, risk, audit, and compliance management software, also an Acumatica certified solution. It's been around since 1998. We have been developing it for a long time. We have more than 1,000 corporate customers and more than 1 million users available. So we have a lot of experience in many different quality management systems and different industries. Since historically we are coming from enterprise market, we have a lot of enterprise level companies as our references, which we are proud of. We work with 3M, we work with Ford, Hyundai in different regions. AstraZeneca is one of our customers. We work with International Paper, Renault-Nissan Alliance, one of our customers. We work with Claris, Unilever, and United Nations also some of our customers. So started, I will say, more than a year ago with Acumatica. We started to focus on mid-market. So what it means for the mid-market is we have these great references, and any company basically in mid-market but growing with multiple locations and they need scale when they are growing, they can go with our products. Basically, that's what it means. We have scalable products, and once you start using any of our products, you can grow with them. That's what it means. Same thing with Acumatica. Together, you can use our products. So let's talk about ISO a little bit. Our subject today is ISO. To be more precise, ISO 9001. So ISO is actually an international organization. That's International Organization for Standardization. We say ISO in short. This map actually shows its coverage area. As you see, the blue areas basically worldwide where they have ISO certifications and standards available. So it's pretty much everywhere if you look at it. So that's a truly global organization as to have the standards in place for business processes. Same thing for United States and Canada as to North America we are at. So it is definitely good to know. So ISO is an international organization, and its standards are basically international. So any company complying with an ISO standard is actually complying with an international standard in a way that you can always utilize, one can always utilize in different markets in addition to North America. So when we look at ISO, I am also adding my source in the bottom. I basically review the ISO's official website. I just took some notes and I'm sharing with you on a high level. So ISO develops standards, international standards. However, the certification is done by separate certification bodies. It's called registrars, and they basically issue the certificates. And ISO is an international organization based in Switzerland and established in 1946, so it's been around for a very long time. And as to industries that's actually addressing with its standards, it has actually more than 20,000 various standards covering many different verticals. I should say, as to technology, manufacturing, and many others. When you have a chance, please visit ISO's official website. They have a great website, very educational, very informative, and you can see the full list of industries there. They have standards of. And that's very helpful to know, definitely. As to ISO 9001, that is the most popular ISO standard globally. That is why they have more than 1 million companies certified in more than 170 countries, as we know it. So there are many companies complying with ISO 9001. Personally, I have also seen some companies practicing ISO 9001, but not certified by ISO, not certified basically for ISO 9001. So I'm sure this number is higher as to, in addition to the official certification, there are also companies, many companies practicing ISO. When we look at the ISO 9001 standard, that's a quality management system, and any company, it could be a large company, small company, mid-sized company, can actually implement this quality management system at any company. So that's very flexible. And the idea is to basically have the ISO 9001 system in place to make sure that there is the consistency in products and services actually delivered. So that is important for customer satisfaction as well as continuous improvement. And also, let's just remember that ISO 9001 actually is based on quality management principles. So these principles are basically the foundation of ISO 9001 as we know it. So when you visit ISO's website, they have these principles of quality management. That's a publication that they actually share on their website as well, as that's very informative. So when we look at it, there is customer focus. So when we look at customer focus principle, that is to basically to meet customer requirements and to exceed customer expectations. That's the idea. And in the bottom of it, the very important point is to have customer satisfaction and increase customer satisfaction for continuous improvement, and to make sure we have positive impact on ROIs. Another one is leadership, is to make sure that leadership is in place and actually provides unity for purpose and also for the direction of the company. That's also very important, essential. Another principle is engagement of people. So that is basically referring to the all the employees, all the people actually in different levels in the organization. So companies, organizations need to recognize, empower, and enhance the competence to achieve goals in an organization. That's what it is referring to actually. Process approach is basically when we say quality management system, this quality management system actually consists of interrelated processes, and understanding how these processes actually run and how they basically affect the overall performance of the system is very important. That's what it is addressing. Improvement is to make sure we maintain our performance, and also to be able to adapt change in the marketplace. I mean, consider right now there is COVID-19. As companies, we are all trying to adapt the change in the organization, and having this principle in place and following this basically makes it easy for companies to adapt any change in any marketplace. Evidence-based decision making is very important in a way that decision making process can be really complex sometimes, and there is always uncertainty as we know it. So having the ability to making decision based on analysis and evaluation of data and information is very important based on these quality management principles. And finally, there is relationship management. That's the 7 P's. This is basically to managing the relationship with interested parties, as in I will say stakeholders, not only employees. I will say suppliers, public, and other stakeholders basically around in our company. The reason being, these interested parties, stakeholders, they have influence on our company. So that is important for us to have a good relationship. That will be helpful for our success in our organizations, basically. So this is basically the principle of ISO 9001. And when we look at the system overall, everything starts with putting the system together. And how do we put this together? We write it down. We write down our policies, procedures. How do we actually run our businesses? What kind of departments we have, and what kind of policies, procedures, and standard operating procedures, SOPs, we follow on daily basis. So we need to write it down. We need to have it actually. We need to document it in a way that anyone, whoever is actually in charge, can actually follow those instructions. That is very important in that sense. So I like to actually talk about it a little bit more, if I may, before we jump to technical part of things as to software, Acumatica, and other details. So when we look at the quality management systems, what we are trying to do is with QDMS and as well as Acumatica is basically to help companies transform their quality management operations. We call it digital transformation of quality management. By quality, what we mean is what are the requirements of the customer and to conformance to it. Basically, that's what the quality is. That's the definition of it. And there are many different standards in the marketplace. However, ISO 9001 happens to be the Holy Grail, the real foundation of all these other standards that we follow in different industries. We have seen many of them, pretty much all of them actually, in our field, because we have more than 1,000 customers and we have seen many different industries and standards. So we have seen all of these standards, I must say. However, today we'll talk about ISO 9001, right? So why do we comply with ISO 9001? Why do we comply any quality management system? So the reason is because customers are requiring it. That's one of the reasons. Another one is competitors are also getting it. Okay, if we don't get it, our competitors are getting at the same time. So we need to make sure we are in a competitive position. Also, local, state, and federal authorities may require it because it depends on any quality management system that you are following. It helps you improve your operations, also position your company basically to improve processes for success. In our field, when we are actually engaging with companies, we have learned a lot of challenges that companies are facing. So that's not easy to comply with ISO or any other quality management standard. So some of the challenges are, for example, we hear from our customers and other companies, it involves too much paperwork. Just like I mentioned earlier, to set up the quality management system, we need to have the policies, procedures, SOPs, forms in place. That's basically dictates how we're going to run our businesses, our operations, our processes on a daily basis. So there is paperwork involved. That's one of the difficulties companies are having the issues, having the challenge of. Also, maintaining the documentation is also can be difficult. The reason being, so today you like to do, let's say you manufacture parts for automobiles, for example. So you have a way of manufacturing today, but tomorrow you may have a different way of manufacturing. You may make some changes in your procedures, for example. So that requires a revision in documentation. Revision after revision, change after change, year after year. It becomes really difficult for companies to maintain those documentation and policies, procedures in place. Sometimes companies lose sight of standards when they are busy trying to run their businesses. Also, it may be difficult to collect data for processes, because we need to do analysis how we are doing. What are the customer's requirements, how I am doing, what is the customer feedback. So we need to analyze this, but it may be difficult for companies to put this together. Another challenge we have been hearing from customers is actually lack of central repository for documentation of corrective actions, reviews, reports, and other data. Typically, what we see is unless they will adopt digital transformation with technological tools in place, they typically companies are using paper, literally, or some spreadsheet or other files or other software products to get by. Simple. They don't have the system in place, but they are just trying to use some digital tools or paper. Typically, that's what we see. So they don't really have a lack of central repository. Most of the companies we talk to, and then that is one of the challenges they have. Also, once you make a decision to take corrective action, for example, for continuous improvement, it is also difficult to follow up those actions. That's what we have been hearing from customers. So it's just like meeting notes. You have a meeting, you take notes, but right after the meeting, who's gonna do what? Sometimes it's blurry. It's hard to follow sometimes, or people forget sometimes. It's just very similar actually situation. So that is another challenge. That's what we have been hearing. So the good news is, in digital age, we have solutions for these problems. The documentation can be managed in a digital environment. The updates, the revisions can be managed in a different digital environment. Also, you can have a central repository for all your data, for your corrective actions, and other information for you to analyze. Audits are easier in digital environment, and also for ISO 9001, it's also simplified. So in that sense, we put together this framework called Proactive Management Framework. It has three pieces: assurance, control, and predict. Assurance is the system that we are following, quality management system. In this case, today we are talking about ISO 9001. So ISO 9001 is my guide, is my system to run my quality management operations. I have my policies, procedures in place. I operate my audits. I perform my trainings. If there is any customer complaint, I process it, I investigate it, I analyze it. So these are all part of the assurance quality management system, ISO in this case. So quality management system dictates quality control. What kind of controls am I going to have in my organization? Not only for manufacturing, by the way, it may be also administrative. So let's just remember, ISO is not only for manufacturing. It affects every single part of the operation. It affects the sales. So sales got to follow up ISO 9001. Purchasing got to follow up ISO 9001. Production department has to follow, as well as human resources has to follow. So ISO 9001 touches every single department in the organization except finance. So when I say control, when I say assurance, I'm not just talking about manufacturing. I'm talking about actually company as a whole, because ISO 9001 eventually a quality management system. Also, it's actually management system. So you can manage your entire company with this system in place. So having said that, control is referring to administrative operations as well as manufacturing. I may have controls in my sales process. So before I accept any new customer, I may want to have an internal approval process as part of the control, for example. Before I accept any new supplier, I may want to have a certain internal control approval process in place, for example. And same thing, we can also apply it to manufacturing. I may have quality control steps when I receive any raw material, during manufacturing, after manufacturing, before shipping, for example. So there are different cases for control, and you can perform this based on ISO 9001 based quality management system that you put together. So system dictates control, how it's going to be. And also finally, there is the prediction piece, the predict piece that touches IoT technology. So I'm complying with ISO 9001. Let's say I'm a manufacturer, I manufacture, let's say, toys, for example. And one of the things that I do is I have automated machinery that I'm using on daily basis for manufacturing. And on this machinery, I have sensors. I can monitor the vibration, I can monitor the temperature, and if I need, I can also monitor the temperature of the environment, ambience, for example. So if there is anything out of range, the vibration is out of range, the temperature is out of range, something is wrong in the environment or in the machinery, these systems can notifications automatically. So one can easily pick this up and automate the processes. That's basically how we are looking at this. So the idea is to basically having the system in place with assurance, having the controls in place that we are all doing we are all following the policies and procedures in place, and having the sensors, IoT devices in place to make sure we are thinking ahead as to be predictive, as to be proactive actually. So that is basically our framework. So to run this framework, we have three products that we put together, right? One is QDMS for quality assurance. Other one is EBA, our electronic business process information for control. And we also have BIM for asset and maintenance management to address being predictive with IoT devices. And among these products, QDMS is Acumatica certified, as well as BIM is Acumatica certified as to asset and facility management. When we look at QDMS is an Acumatica certified solution. That is our page on Acumatica's marketplace that you can visit anytime you like. And QDMS is open to interact with any other systems. There may be an IoT device, there may be a manufacturing execution system that we need to connect, we need to listen. There may be a CRM system that we can pull and push customer information for customer complaints, for corrective actions, for surveys, for example. And also, QDMS is also integrated with Acumatica ERP system. With the help of QDMS, one can comply any quality management system. ISO 9001 is one of them, followed by ISO 14000, HDF, BRC, AS 9100, and others, basically. The reason being, system is configurable. We can configure the system based on your standard that you are following. It's a web-based architecture. That means once we deploy it on a cloud environment or on-premise server, you can access QDMS wherever you are. That's why I mentioned earlier, if you have multiple locations as a company, maybe you have multiple manufacturing organizations, or you are a mix of offices nationwide plus some manufacturing locations, QDMS is perfect for that setup. You can access the system anywhere. That's very practical. And when we are deploying QDMS, we work with quality management, quality department, basically. We don't need any IT department, IT support. Once we deploy the system, we train properly quality management team, and they run the QDMS themselves while our support, of course, continues. QDMS works on cloud as well as on-premise servers, and one of the advantages is it has a modular structure. What it means is we are not trying to offer entire system no matter what. We are actually offering modules. So any quality manager can basically pick and choose what module they need. It depends on what quality management system that they have. Also, what do you like to basically digitize? What do you like to run in a digital environment and automate it? That's also your choice at the end of the day. And from ISO 9001 point of view, control document management is the backbone of ISO 9001, because that's where I put together my policies, procedures, and SOPs in place. So let's say I have a new team member, new colleague, she joins us, for example, and then they need to, let's say, read how we are doing certain operations, what kind of policies we are following. They just need to get into control document management module and read those documents, basically, where they are allowed to read. Because the system is, let's remember, QDMS is a permission-based system. Everything is role-based. So depends on the admin's permissions, you're allowed to see certain parts of the system. So not everyone can see everything. That's a great security feature. Other modules are customer complaint modules, internal and external, for capturing customer complaints, corrective action for improvement. So based on ISO 9001, corrective action is very important to have continuous improvement in place. That is how we basically improve our process with corrective actions. Another one is, as you remember, customer satisfaction. So our goal is to basically exceed customer expectations. So to increase customer satisfaction, basically, that's the idea. And for someone to take corrective actions, for me to take corrective actions, I need to get feedback. Where do I get the feedback? I get the feedback from our customers, from our suppliers, from our team members, and also I can get feedback from IoT devices, for example. I can get feedback from surveys, for example. So these are different channels that I need to basically manage as a quality professional to make sure I'm getting feedback so that I can analyze it and I can find a way to improve the processes. That's the idea basically. So in that sense, survey is very important because that's basically how we get the feedback from our customers when we send any survey. Audit management is another important piece to have a chance for corrective action, to run internal audits as well as auditing suppliers, for example. It's also important. Training modules also available for training operations, and calibration is available to manage the calibration, recording, and tracing. One thing I need to mention is risk management. So ISO 9001 requires you to have risk management in place. So risk assessment has to be done and has to be recorded, documented, and you need to have some sort of a contingency plan if those risks became true, basically. So that is why we have actually different risk management modules available: process risk management, IT asset risk management, health and safety risk management, as well as environment risk management. Also, not only for ISO 9001 in a general sense, I mean, having the risk assessment in place, trying to think ahead what may happen, and having the contingency plan is a great advantage for any business. So in that sense, also it's a requirement in ISO 9001, basically. And there are other modules available in ISO, as you see on the screen. We have more than 30 modules available, so this is a pretty much rich solution. A brief use case: one of our customers, for example, in chemical industry, they have more than 100 employees in US, and they have multiple production and administrative facilities. This chemical company is complying with ISO 9001. So their challenge was to basically manage their documentation, because they were on paper basically when they were running their operations, and spreadsheet basically another tool that they were using for quality control, and it was hard for them to pull up documentation when it's needed, procedures, protocols when there is a need, and also it was hard to get customer feedback most of the time. They were getting it, either it was verbal, via email, sometimes they were doing surveys in different ways, but it was difficult for them to combine the information and analyze it, so that was also another challenge of theirs. Therefore, taking corrective action was a challenge. So once we deployed QDMS, they had a chance to digitize all their operations, all their quality management system. They get rid of paper as a start, and they get rid of all the spreadsheet-based documentation they use. They utilize QDMS instead. If they still have spreadsheet-based documents, they had a chance to use the document management, control document management module. And by the fact that they have multiple locations and the system is a web-based system, they had a chance to access information wherever they are. So that was another problem they wanted to address: the multi-location and having a central repository to access the data whenever they need documentation, customer complaints, corrective actions, and so on. So with the help of QDMS, they started to have customer feedback, and based on the customer feedback, they started to have corrective actions. That was actually the benefit that they were getting, which was very important for continuous improvement. So on my side, that's pretty much it. So until now, we talk about ISO 9001 on a high level and its principles. We talk about QDMS, its structure, its benefits, and how it is basically running. So what we like to do is we like to show you QDMS and Acumatica together. My colleague Sam Budd is a member of our software engineering team, and he'll be showing you the survey module of QDMS for today. And with the survey module, we can do many different things. We can conduct a survey to get feedback from our customers. We have conduct survey to get feedback from our suppliers or general public. We can also use survey module for test purposes. Some of our customers use survey module as employee test module, for example. So when it comes to sending questions out and getting feedback for analysis, survey module is very useful in QDMS. And the good thing is you can link it to corrective action and other other parts of the quality management system that you have for continuous improvement. That's another advantage. And then after the survey module, we'll show you a piece of quality control application that Sam put together with our colleagues. And we'll also talk about how the quality control process is running with Acumatica as well. This is going to be a high-level demonstration. And what we do is we keep our contact information on the screen. So if you like to have a one-to-one meeting for detailed demonstration, we can schedule it for you. We'll be happy to do that. So Sam, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. So you can take the screen whenever you like. For your information, right after Sam's demonstration, we have Q&A session. So if you have any questions, please type in the chat box. Thank you.
Okay. And can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, nice. Which one is working? And today, I will show the survey module in QDMS and also the quality control app that we put together. And thank you for joining this webinar first. And this is Sam at Bimser International. So this is the home screen after you log into QDMS. You can find all your pending tasks and the request for approval on this home screen. And you can click on it and get a quick connection to those requests. For example, like the document is waiting for your comment or the document waiting for your approval. Okay. And this is my account, which is an administrator account. So all the permissions in QDMS are role-based, which means not everyone can see everything in QDMS. It's based on your role, position, profession, department, or group. And on the top left, this is the main menu. And today we will get into the survey module. As Kevin mentioned, you can use this module as a test after certain training or audit, or having your survey, getting the feedback from your customer, vendor, subcontractor, and also employee. So which means you can prepare an internal survey or external survey and invite different participants for this survey or for this exam. So right here is all the survey that we have. And let me take one as an example. So you can find out the creation date, and then you can set up some question, for example, like an open text field that you can enter your question in this open text field. Or you can make a radio button and pick and choose the most proper answer for this particular question. Or you can have a multiple choice question, a drop-down list, like getting yes or no. And when you answer at yes, it showed up the related question, and also it is practical in this survey module. And then right here, you can also set up the question for picking the date on the calendar. And also you can attach any related document into this survey. So right here, you can pick and choose the document from your local from your local computer and submit to your question or submit your answer to in this module. Okay. And in survey module, you can also check the result of different, for example, survey or tests. So right here we have this one, and you can have an overview of the answers or of all the answers that the users make for this particular question. And you can see the ratio right here. You can export this with survey report into PDF or Excel for sharing with any responsible party. Instead, you can find the individual result of this survey as well. So you can get into it and see who answered what on which day, and you can find out what he answered or what he put in for this particular survey. And now, we have our survey module, and also we can run our chart, which you can pick and choose and generate your report, your chart report. And in QDMS, we integrate with Acumatica, for example, like the employee information, which you will see right here, like EP0001, Michael Maxwell, and you can find all of those in Acumatica, which you will see all the same record. Employee, I'm going to show you this one. It's all the employee name. It's coming up to your screen. Yep, Michael, Maxwell, Layla, Joseph. Also, we will integrate QDMS with the customer information and the product information that we have in Acumatica. And in short, we can integrate any fields that you have in Acumatica with QDMS. And in addition to the quality control piece, we have a solution for the quality control, like managing our purchase order, which you can pick and choose the purchase order that you have in Acumatica and show you the item right here. Order information will be saved in an archive, and you can find out the log anytime. So for example, like this one, this is the one we carry out with the PO number ending 991. And you can find out the information that we entered and also the lab result right here. So when we pick and choose the PO, then it will be sent to the lab for this inspection, and you have to enter the result. If any one of it is out of the reference range that we set up in this solution, then the system will show you a notification that certain result is out of range. And we have our workflow behind it, which you can also find it right here. As you can see, where we send it to the lab for the result. We have our flow scheme. And it is absolutely designable, which means you can update this workflow anytime you want to. Okay. And at last, I want to show you is the application app. This application or mobile application is available for Android and iOS device. So you can download it from Google Play or the App Store for your iPhone, iPad, or any smartphone. Okay. So right here, 1 second, I'm going to put my mobile application on the screen. Give me a second. And they are working, the app mobile application is working in the same database that you have on your web browser. So I can also find my pending requests and tasks on this home screen. And I can get to my modules like complaints and the survey module, which I've showed you before, like a minute ago. I can find my survey and fill in the question right on my handheld device, which means you can get the connection to QDMS anytime, anywhere with the internet access. It's come to the end of my demonstration. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Sam, for the demonstration. Much appreciated. As I mentioned earlier, that's just an overview and a piece of QDMS, Quality Risk and Audit Management software, just to give you an idea. And every week when we organize these AcuQuality Webinar Sessions, we try to show you a different part of the software. if you like to have one-on-one meetings and if you like to schedule some time for your organization, we keep our contact information on the screen so we can schedule a time to go over it together. All right, good. So let's talk about some questions that we have been getting. Let's address them. So one of the questions that I have received is about deployment time. What is the deployment time for QDMS on average? So actually, the duration of the deployment is depends on the customer's data readiness. Right? Sometimes they are on some of our customers are on paper, some of them on spreadsheets and other files. Some of them it's very difficult for them to put it together. So it really changes. Some of them very organized, either on paper or other formats, very organized. So typically, it is 1 to 3 months typically to deploy QDMS for us to basically make it operational for our customers. Another question is about modules. Which modules are mandatory? Which ones are optional? As you showed on in the presentation screen. So we have more than 30 modules available for QDMS. We have so that's up to you basically which one to choose. You can have one module, you can have 2 modules, 3 modules. That's really up to you. We just have a module called system module. That's basically the core solution that needs to be there. So that's one piece that needs to be there. Basically, that's a must. Other than that, all other modules that I listed on the screen, control document management, customer complaints, audit training, and other modules, basically they're all optional. You can start with one module, you can add later on more modules. That's basically up to you. We are flexible. Is another question I'm also getting is about ISO 9001. Is QDMS just designed for ISO 9001? Can I comply with ISO 14000 with that? Yes. So actually, QDMS is designed for any quality management standard. That may be ISO 9001. That may be ISO 14000, as you mentioned in your question, or that may be SPF, BRC, or any other standard basically. So my answer is you can comply with more than one quality management standards and compliance requirements that you have on QDMS. That is possible. So you can comply with ISO 9001 as well as ISO 14001 as to comply with environment related quality management standards. Let me see if I have any other questions. Let's see. How is the pricing of QDMS? Well, the pricing is based on the modules that you get. So when you decide which modules you put together, then we come to a point we can talk about pricing. So modules are important for pricing purposes. Let me see if I have a couple more questions I'd like to address, and then I think we can see which one. Yeah, the one of them actually we addressed that already. So the question is about mobile app. Is there any mobile app available for QDMS? Yes, Sam just actually demonstrated. So we have a mobile application available. That's a native mobile, and you can download it on in Android from Android App Store or Apple App Store basically, and you can access the same database that you would have access on your laptop. So that's a practical tool at your disposal when you're using QDMS. So my answer is yes, the mobile app is available. I'll get one more question from the list. There are many questions, so I just need to see which ones we didn't address during the demonstration and presentation. Yes, okay. One of the questions about document management. Yes. So how do we manage documents in QDMS for SOPs and other documents we have? Yes. So QDMS is a quality risk audit and compliance management software. It's been around since 1998, and we have more than 30 modules. The one that you are referring, called Control Document Management module, that's also available. In this session, we didn't show it, but please, my email address is on the screen. Feel free to send me an email. We can schedule time to show you. So that is the module that we help you manage your documents. It's called Control Document Management module. That's where you basically can upload your documents, policies, procedures, protocols, SOPs, standard operating procedures, forms that you use on daily basis, and you can upload them. You can make it available for your team members, and if there is any change as to have any revisions, for example, the system helps you update it, and as soon as that's updated, it sends automatic notification to team members of yours. And this is also part of the configuration. We basically help you design a workflow. When you, let's say, release a documentation, let's say for production, production team members get the notification. If that's a document for about for sales department, for example, as soon as you update the document, let's say a new policy or updated procedure, sales team gets the notification. So everyone gets a notification. That is very practical as to automate document management process when you are complying with ISO 9001. Okay, let me see if there is another questions I need to address. Looks like we addressed all the questions. Okay, that's great. So before we end this session, I'd like to share our coming schedule again for coming weeks. Next week, we'll be talking about ISO 13485 as to how to comply with that standard in healthcare, medical device, medical material, and healthcare industry, as well as pharma industry, I have to say. And on May 11th, we'll be talking about SQF. SQF is a quality management system in food industry. So we'll be addressing SQF, some overview of SQF principles, and then we'll show different parts of QDMS while interacting with Acumatica. And then on May 18th, we'll be talking about good manufacturing practices and how to comply on BIM, QDMS, and Acumatica. As I mentioned earlier, we talked about GMP compliance last week, and that's recording is available on our YouTube channel. On May 18, we'll be mostly talking about facility management in the scope of GMP, good manufacturing practices point of view. And on May 25th, we'll be talking about AS 9100 compliance and how to manage it on QDMS and Acumatica in aerospace industry, and more to come, of course. So every Monday at 2 o'clock, we organize AcuQuality webinar sessions, and we share different subjects, and this is the coming schedule for us to basically perform. And you can register on our Eventbrite page, just like we did today, and we'll send you a link for you to connect. All right, great. So I'd like to thank you for your time, for our attendees. Thank you very much for your time and for your interest, and you ask great questions as well, as always, much appreciated. I hope you join us also in coming weeks, and we can talk more about different types of quality management systems and how to apply these standards, the systems in a digital environment, basically. We keep our contact information on the screen, so we'll be happy to hear from you if you'd like to continue this conversation. If you have any questions, we are always ready to address and chat with you. I'd like to thank you for your time and your interest, and looking forward to seeing you in our coming webinar sessions. Thank you, and have a nice day.